Justin Gum, courtesy of Skyride. Candace Stokes, Jerome Brendan, J.B. Adkins is the founder of Skyride, a sky taxi service. By Frederick Kunkel, Washington Post. A brash young entrepreneur has started operating a sky taxi in Los Angeles in a bid to create an Uber-like flight-hailing service, even though the firm hasn't quite cleared all the federal regulatory hurdles. Skyride has begun using small planes and a federally licensed pilot to fly people on quick hops above LA's notorious traffic jams on shorter notice and at lower prices than one generally finds for commuter air services using turboprops or small jets. Start your day with the news you need from the Bay Area and beyond. Sign up for our new Morning Report weekday newsletter. Although the process for booking a flight and getting to one's destination is still a bit more complicated than it is for ride-hailing services on the ground, the aim of the beta launch is to work out the kinks and ultimately make it relatively easy to order a flight in the LA metropolis, the operators say. It's on demand, so nothing is scheduled. It's simply, somebody calls, they want a flight, we book the flight, and that's how we operate, said Mike Killian, a licensed commercial pilot who has flown several flights for Skyride. Instead of Learjets and turboprops that one often associates with scheduled flights, Skyride is using small planes, such as the Cessna Turbo 182. The aircraft has 4 to 6 seats and instrumentation that allows pilots to fly in everything but the most extreme weather. Obviously, there's some planning involved, but we could literally be dispatched within less than an hour. Get on the flight and take care of the trip, said Killian, 29, the founder of Corsair Aviation, a Van Nuys, California, firm that's working closely with Skyride. The idea for the Sky Taxi and the drive behind the young company came from Jerome Brendan, J.B. Adkins, a flight junkie who said he has cashed in almost everything except the camper where he and his young family now live to launch the venture. Skyride is literally trying to solve the problem of traffic, said Adkins, who became mesmerized by powered flight as a child growing up in a military family in Georgia. He hung out at airports washing airplanes to make money, and obtained his pilot's license in high school before attending Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Adkins said he was in high school when he got the idea to use airplanes like limousines. Instead of driving 6 hours from his home in Georgia to the Florida beaches over spring break, he realized he could fly there in 45 minutes with friends who ponied up $50 each. I did this before Uber, before Lyft, before the sharing economy ever existed. Adkins, 28, said in an interview. Unlike Uber or Lyft, however, there's not even a Skyride smartphone app yet, though Adkins says one's on the way. For now, users go to goskyride.com, where one of the pitches that shows up says, "Screw traffic, fly above it." Adkins said a typical Skyride flight might take a passenger from UCLA to Long Beach, arriving there in a matter of minutes instead of the hours it would take to slog through LA traffic. The fare isn't cheap, $300, but could approach affordability if people shared the flight. He hopes that the same concepts pioneered by Uber, dynamic pricing and a pool of available operators, will lower Skyride's price from what might seem exorbitant now to something closer to $100. He has a way to go. So far, only about 16 people have flown with the Laguna Beach-based firm since it took to the skies April 20th, Adkins said. He also acknowledged that the firm has been operating in a regulatory gray area surrounding scheduling flights. The Federal Aviation Administration is aware of Skyride, and FAA spokesman said. He said the venture appears to have passed regulatory muster in several respects. Its partner, Corsair, is operating under a Part of FAA regulations, known as Part 135 rules, which govern intrastate air taxis and commuter services, the necessary licensing and training of their pilots and crews, and the required maintenance for their aircraft. Corsair has the necessary operating certificate to transport interstate commercial passengers under Part 135 and a clean operating record, the spokesman said. He said FAA inspectors have reviewed Corsair's aircraft and conducted a successful proficiency check right to its pilot. Meanwhile, Skyride appears to be essentially acting as a broker and does not need such a Part 135 certificate, the FAA spokesman said. He said, however, that it's not entirely clear that the fledgling business is fully complying with the murky and Byzantine regulations in the Department of Transportation, not the FAA, that govern flight brokers and whether a flight is truly on demand or has become a scheduled route. Adkins acknowledges that there is some uncertainty regarding those regulations, but he said his firm is working with the FAA and to clarify its role. He emphasized, however, that the venture is fully compliant with operational regulations that directly apply to safety, maintenance, and flight worthiness of the aircraft. He said it's the business model that, despite being made familiar to people on the ground, remains unusual in the sky. There are so many regulatory hurdles involved with this, Adkins said. We didn't want to wait for regulation to catch up. We wanted to get started with this now. You might also like Kim Lim, daughter of tycoon Peter Lim, on being a hot premium content Trump Kim Summit, security to be ramped up in Tanglin, Straits Times. Don't limit yourself on SIM-only plans that are only Singtel on MoneySmart. Get unlimited access to over 700 VIP airport lounges. HSBC Asia paints a bright picture for investors. Allianz Global Investors ranked most popular airports in the world for 2018. Far and wide Carolyn hacks. I heard my husband telling his mother. MercuryNews.com. Matt Lauer's wife makes bold move against husband. MercuryNews.com. NBA Finals. Gary Payton says all-time best, not LeBron. MercuryNews.com. Recommended by